Ganin nyo ang doktrina ng ating Panginoong Hesukristo. Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat.
Ang pangalan ng Panginoon ay matibay na muog, tinatakbuhan ng matuwid at naliligtas. Samahan niyo kami para sa ilang minuto ng taimtim na panalangin at ang lingap ng Panginoon ay ating hilingin. Manalangin po tayo.
Ama naming sumasa mga langit, sa pangalan po ng iyong bugtong na anak, pagkalitas po ng maghapong paggawa, muli ka ng sumasamba sa iyo o sa pusong nagpapasalamat sa patuloy mo pong pag-iingat sa amin at sa aming mga sambahayan. Salamat po sa lahat ng mga biyayang pinagkakaloob mo po sa aming mga abang kalagayan. Salamat sa lahat ng iyong mga kabutihan. Wala po kaming maitutumbas, maibabayad. Tabunan man kami ng lupa, hindi po kami makababayad sa iyo. Sana tanggapin mo po ang aming walang hanggang mga pagpapasalamat. Kalinsabay din ito ay humihingi kami ng kapatawaran sa lahat ng sama ng loob na aming naidudulot sa iyo. Bunga ng aming mga kamangmangan, ng aming mga pagkukulang, linisin mo po ang aming mga puso. Ngayong nagpatawad na po kami sa mga nagkulang sa amin. Basbasan mo po ang mga ama at ina ng tahanan, ang mga kabinataan at kadalagahan, 10 ng aming mga anak. Tulungan mo po kami, Panginoon, makapagpatuloy sa pagsunod sa iyong mga kalooban. At sana maabot namin ang kasakdalang hinihingi mo sa bawat sa amin upang kami maging dapat na makarating sa iyong ipinapangakong kaharian. Kaawaan mo rin po ang mga naliligaw ng landas. Iligtas mo po sila sa darating na kapahamakan. Buksan mo po ang kanilang mga puso. Sana dumating pa po ang araw na makasama po namin silang maglingkod sa iyo. Bago po sana mahuli ang lahat. Alalahanin mo rin po maging ang mga namiminuno sa mga bansa, lalo na po Ama sa bansang pinaglikhaan mo po sa amin. Marami pong mga suliranin. Tulungan mo po ang aming Pangulo, ang lahat ng kanyang mga kasamahan. Bigyan niyo po sila ng kaalaman na magkaisa silang lahat sa ikabubuti ng lahat ng mga mamamayan at sa ikapananatili ng kalayaan ng pagpapahayag ng iyong mga salita. Iligtas mo rin po sila sa kamay ng kanilang mga kaaway, maging ang kanilang mga mahal sa buhay. Higit sa lahat, pagpalain mo po ang pagpapalaganap ng iyong mga banal na salita. Lagi mo pong samahan ang mga mangangaral. Naway marating nila ang lahat ng mga bansa. Mapakinggan ang iyong mga katotohanan sa lahat ng mga naghihintay ng iyong mga katwiran. Panginoon, sa gabi pong ito, minsan pa po, sa iyong mapagpalang mga kamay, amin pong inihahabilin sa iyo ang aming mga buhay, ang aming pong mga kapalaran. Umaasa po kaming higit sa aming hinihingi, mga bagay na kasang-ayon ng kalooban mo ay iyong ipagkakaloob sa amin. Salamat po, Ama, sa pangalan ng aming Panginoong Hesukristo. Amen.
Inyo pong napakinggan ang UNTV Community Prayer. Inaasahan po namin ang inyong pakikiisa sa lahat ng community prayer schedule. Maaari rin po kayong makipanalangin sa aming top-of-the-hour community prayer via web streaming www.untv.ph mcgi.org/cp. Building a prayerful nation through broadcast evangelization.
Mayor Paint. With Mayor, you paint more while you pay less.
UNTV News and Rescue.
Tonight on Y News. Bill seeking total prohibition of hazing passes the House committee level. Hazing victim Horosho Castillo III finally laid to rest while the Department of Justice orders temporary release of the prime suspect in the case, John Paul Solano. The Defense Department says war in Marawi City soon to end, while peace advocates set to provide assistance to war-affected residents.
President Rodrigo Duterte orders a display of photographs of national heroes instead of government officials in all government establishments. Environment Secretary Roy Simato defends closure order to Payatas landfill at the Commission on Appointments hearing. And Saudi King Salman announces historic decision finally allowing women in the kingdom to drive.
Y News begins now.
From the UNTV News and Rescue Command Center in Quezon City, this is Y News with William Theo and Darlene Basingan.
Good evening. The proposal seeking to totally prohibit hazing passes in the House committee level on the House of Representatives. Here's why from Grace Casin.
Lawmakers want to totally prohibit the conduct of any forms of hazing in all schools and community-based fraternities, sororities, and other similar organizations. They also seek to regulate the conduct of initiation rites of such groups or organizations, as the number of deaths recorded due to hazing has reached an alarming figure. In 2012, San Beda Law freshman student 25-year-old Marvin Reglos and 21-year-old Mark Andre Marcos died of serious injuries after undergoing initiation rites. This was followed in June 2014 by the death of 18-year-old Julio Cesar Servando. And just last week, UST law student Horosho Castillo III was not able to withstand the extreme beating on his arms that led to hematoma. Such incidents prompted Philippine lawmakers to act and thus put an end to hazing by filing a bill that seeks its total prohibition. Under the proposed amendments to the anti-hazing law in the lower house, it requires fraternities, sororities, and similar organizations to register to their respective schools and local government units. School officials might also be held liable in the event a hazing incident takes place in the respective campuses, which resulted into death or serious physical injury. The proposed amendment also mandates the creation of an interagency committee against hazing that would monitor all organizations to ensure they would not violate the law. Should it be passed into law, violators might face a jail time of 20 years or life imprisonment.
This is very timely at nakita natin kung gaano ka-important na as soon as possible maipasa natin itong revised anti-hazing law.
The lawmakers target to pass the proposed amendments in lower house of Congress before the end of October. In the Senate, on the other hand, says it is ready to adopt the version of the House of Representatives for the bill's immediate passage. Grace Casin, UNTV News and Rescue, House of Representatives.
Meanwhile, John Paul Solano agrees to become a state witness in the death of hazing victim Horosho Castillo III. However, Solano says some senators are not in favor of making him a state witness on the case. Victor Cosare explains why.
Yun din kaso ang sabi nga ni Senator nag-win gut check lang kahapon sa executive session. Wala ka kasing personal knowledge doon sa nangyari. So parang hindi ka credible maging state witness. Yung innocence mo lang na makakalaya ako.
This was the statement of John Paul Solano, the prime suspect in the death of Horosho Castillo III, following the executive session held by the Senate. Solano said he is open to become a state witness, though some senators are not in favor of making him as one. The law states that an individual can become a state witness if he or she is the least guilty among the suspects. Manila Police District or MPD meanwhile releases the list of names of the officials of the Aegis Juris Fraternity who allegedly organized the initiation rites conducted on Castillo. They are identified as Arvin Balag, the Grand Prefectus, Min Wei Chan, the Vice President, Mark Anthony Ventura, the Secretary, Axel Munro Hipe, the Master Initiator, Oliver John Audrey Onofre, the Auditor, Joshua Joriel Macabali, the PRO, Jason Adolfo Robinos, the Treasurer, and Ralph Trangia, the Sergeant-at-Arms. The list came from the UST Faculty of Civil Law, which was given during the hearing of the Senate on the death of Castillo. The names on the list are among those facing charges of murder, robbery, obstruction of justice, perjury, and violation of the anti-hazing law filed by the MPD before the Department of Justice or DOJ. Meanwhile, a member of the Aegis Juris Fraternity visited Solano earlier. He stayed for 30 minutes only at the MPD and denies any involvement in the death of Asio.
Maliit na member na ako, inactive akong brad hindi ako kasama doon.
Solano says he is not familiar with the man who claimed to be a member of the Aegis Juris Fraternity and that he just checked on his condition. Victor Cosare, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
UST law student and hazing victim Horosho Castillo III was laid to rest at the Manila Memorial Park this afternoon. White and black shirts wearing Justice for Horosho were worn by those who attended the burial. Family and friends broke down in tears seeing for the last time the body of Acho. Meanwhile, the victim's uncle says Acho could have been an asset to the Aegis Juris Fraternity, but with his death because of hazing, this will be the start of the downfall of the group.
New vibe. Can you imagine if you did not kill him? He would have made your fraternity great. But the problem is, it's the opposite. This is the end of your fraternity. Really?
Alongside Acho's death is also the end of his dreams, but for the family, this is just the start of the fight to put an end to hazing. Hazing suspect John Paul Solano will be freed temporarily while the Department of Justice or DOJ conducts further investigations on the death of Horosho Castillo III. In a 6-page resolution, the DOJ prosecutor recommended the conduct of preliminary investigation on the complaints for murder, violation of the anti-hazing law, robbery, and perjury filed by Acho's parents against Solano and 15 other suspects. In the meantime, DOJ has ordered the release of Solano from detention at the Manila Police District. But the DOJ clarifies he is still not yet off the hook. Acting Prosecutor General George Catalan Jr. says it will only be determined after the preliminary investigation whether Solano and other suspects should be indicted or not. DOJ has already issued subpoenas on the suspects, ordered them to attend the hearings on October 4 and 9 to give the chance to refute the charges.
Presidential Chief Legal Counsel Attorney Salvador Panelo believes that Davao City Mayor Inday Sara Duterte is qualified to be the successor of President Rodrigo Duterte. Rosa Ricos tells us why.
If Presidential Chief Legal Counsel Attorney Salvador Panelo will be asked, Davao City Mayor Inday Sara Duterte has the capacity to be a president of the Philippines, just like his father, President Rodrigo Duterte. The lawyer says Inday is as good as the chief executive and even stricter than his father.
Wala siya maging presidente. Pwede tatanungin mo. Pare-pareho ugali ng tatay niya. Mas matindi pa nga Abogado pa. Kung si Cory Aquino naging presidente. At housewife lang. Bakit naman itong mayor? Lawyer na abogado at mayor. Hindi pa pwede. Tapang pa. Incorruptible din.
A report recently surfaced that President Duterte made mention of his preferred successor, and that is his daughter, Inday Sara. For Mayor Sara, she believes there are a lot of people more qualified and better than her for the position.
Actually, wala ko dito pagsulti ni Ana and wala po siya nisulti nga president. Ningon lang siya og successor. Wala man siya ningon og president. Daghan man din na magtanaw sa sila sa lain na mga possibilities, possible candidates before sila motanaw sa tanaw sa sila sa laing tao.
Amidst the criticisms, Malacanang has defended the Dutertes on allegations that they are trying to perpetuate power.
I think the president is just being very, very pragmatic. You know, it's not a question of wanting to perpetuate power, but ensuring that whatever gains he has, whatever gains that we have made, the administration may have made, will be preserved by somebody that he actually trusts. I think the issue here is trust. The issue here is that he trusts the capability of Sara. At this stage, that is his statement. Okay, yun na statement niya. Nakita niyo yung capacity, capability, puso, intention ni Sara Duterte.
Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacanang.
Former Subic Bay Metropolitan Authority or SBMA Chairman Martin Dino says he holds no grudges against President Rodrigo Duterte for removing him as SBMA Chair. Rodrigo Mendoza tells us why.
Chairman Martin Dino says he respects the decision of President Rodrigo Duterte to replace him as the Subic Bay Metropolitan Authority or SBMA chairman. Dino, however, insists he was not fired from his post. The former SBMA chief admits he has grudges on some officials of Malacanang as they did not inform him that SBMA Administrator Wilma Isma would replace him.
Hindi man lamang ako kinapi parties, hindi ba dapat may courtesy naman na you're the chairman, tanggal ka na?
He alleges that a big group within the SBMA is behind the efforts to remove him. Volunteers Against Crime and Corruption founding chairman Dante Jimenez meanwhile says corruption in the government has yet to be eradicated, which he claims is being committed by some people around the president.
Corruption has never been stopped. Andiyan pa po ang mga ibang uri ng form ng corruption na ginagawa po ng mga taong nasa paligid po niya.
But the group says their support for the president remains. The VACC claims the president might have not received the information on the irregularities in the SBMA like the smuggling of sugar and illegal drugs.
Mataas ang tiwala ko sa ating Pangulo and kaya ko ginagawa ito, I want to help the President. Kaya lang siyempre, hindi mawawala sa isang organisasyon. Siyempre, alam na natin na merong hindi naman lahat diretso. Kung gusto natin maging matagumpay ang pamahalaan ng ating Pangulong Duterte, tulungan natin siya.
Dino also confirms his offer to become an Undersecretary of the Department of Interior and Local Government.
Pinatawag ako sa Malacanang at ako ay inopera ng posisyon. Ito po yung Undersecretary for Barangay Affairs. At nung nakausap ko ang ating presidente, sinabi niya nga sa akin na kung maari ay tulungan ko siya dito sa barangay government.
Malacanang has yet to confirm Dino's statement. Rodrigo Mendoza, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
Department of Environment and Natural Resources Secretary Roy Simatu has faced anew the Commission on Appointments or CA. During the CA hearing today, Simatu defended his order to close down the Payatas landfill. Nel Maribohok will tell us why.
The continuous throwing of wastes to the Payatas landfill will further damage the environment. This has been the answer by Environment Secretary Roy Simatu when questioned by members of the Commission on Appointments or CA about his issuance of a closure order on the said landfill. During the CA confirmation hearing today, Simatu argues the continuous use of the Payatas landfill violates the country's environmental laws.
The late collection systems is no longer working, Your Honor, meaning untreated water goes directly to the water body. The violation also, Your Honor, is the slope of trust.
The Secretary also disagrees to the extension sought by the Quezon City government to to allow the use of the landfill until December of this year.
This has been already extended for several times, Your Honor, and I think allowing it will still be very disastrous to the people.
One alternative the DNR chief proposes is the construction of a new sanitary landfill. However, since the building of sanitary landfills is costly, Simato recommends that local government units or LGUs should cooperate in working on the matter. The construction of sanitary landfills is estimated to cost the government 50 million pesos to 100 million pesos.
You put your sanitary landfill in an area that can be accessed by 3 or 4 municipalities.
The powerful Commission on Appointments is set to release on the 4th of October its decision on the appointment of the DNR Secretary. In the said date, members of the CA are expected to ask more questions that Simato has to answer.
Nasagot niya ng tama lahat at masaya naman kami. At yun lang, yung mga wala dito ngayon ng mga members ng CA from the lower house.
Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, Senate of the Philippines.
In other news, President Rodrigo Duterte warns Lucio Tan and Philippine Airlines of failure to pay the rightful tax to the government. The president said he will not let PAL use the runway in the airport if this is not settled within 10 days. Tan allegedly failed to pay taxes in using the runway of NAIA. The president made the statement last night during the 56th anniversary ng Philippine Constitution Association. The Philippines said he can talk straight to Tan because he did not receive any campaign fund from the businessman. Tan owes the government 30 billion pesos for unpaid taxes to the Bureau of Internal Revenue.
I will give you 10 days. Bayaran mo. Pag bayaran mo, sirahan ko. Wala nang airport. So what? Filipinos have to travel overland from Luzon to Davao. Basta wag mo akong...
Tan has no official statement yet about the said issue. And the Commission on Higher Education clarifies Carol Marquis remains its executive director. This despite attorney Julito Vitrolio's claim that he has already been reinstated to his former position. Leslie Longbowen tells us why.
The Commission on Higher Education recognizes Carol Marquis as its legitimate executive director. That's why CHED Chairperson Patricia Licuanan says any documents signed by Attorney Julito Vitriolo are considered null and void. The Commission does not also acknowledge any of his statements on behalf of it. Vitriolo was dismissed by the Ombudsman in January for some violations including of Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act and of Code of Conduct and Ethical Standards for Public Officials and Employees. The Malacanang also issued clarification on the matter.
The Court of Appeals reversal or changing the Ombudsman's decision of dismissal is not immediately executory. And that was the opinion of our legal office from the start. And it has been confirmed very recently by Malacanang's own lawyers.
Meanwhile, Vitriolo insists of being reinstated in the position. Vitriolo holds on to the Court of Appeals decision and an earlier statement of presidential spokesperson Ernesto Abella that he respects the CA's order.
I'm not sure of their motivation because as far as I know, Chair Licuanan has an axe to grind against me. She has actually filed many cases in the Ombudsman against me. So she's the one, I would say, has a personal grudge, or I don't know, about me.
Licuanan also admits she is not comfortable talking to Vitriolo on the issue. At present, Vitriolo still comes to his office in the commission.
Can I bodily bar him? I suppose theoretically I should be able to do that, but no, I don't feel comfortable. I'm not sure who is going to implement that. No, so I was hoping that we could appeal to him to just wait until it's final. Then he truly has the right. No, but right now, Carol Marquis has the right to this position.
Leslie Longbowen, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Malacanang said it is willing to cooperate with the Senate on the redactions of the Statement of Assets, Liabilities, and Net Worth, or SALN, of the cabinet members questioned by the Philippine Center for Investigative Journalism recently. Presidential spokesperson Ernesto Abella said once called by the Senate, Malacanang is willing to attend. However, the administration stood firm that there were no violations committed related to the release of SALNs of some cabinet members.
Let's take a look at the traffic situation now along some major roads in Metro Manila. On EDSA Muñoz, motorists on the lane going to North Avenue are experiencing heavy traffic, while motorists on the lane going to Balintawak are experiencing light flow of vehicles. On Alabang Zapote Road, the traffic flow is moderate on the lane going to Muntinlupa and SLEX. The flow of vehicles is also moderate on the lane going to Ayala Alabang and Las Piñas. 100 residents in a village in Apalit, Pampanga expressed gratitude for having to avail free medical services. Roby de Guzman tells us why.
The daily income of Maricris Mayoyo's husband, who is a welder, is not enough for her to bring her 2-year-old child, who is suffering from cough and cold, to a doctor. She says they are trying to budget the small income of his family for their daily needs. This is why, upon learning that there would be a medical mission in their village, Maricris immediately brought her child to the venue.
Salamat dahil binigay nila to para makaano yung mga bata, makaano ng mga vitamin, para sa kalusugan ng mga bata. Para rin sa matatanda. Thank you. Brother Eli, Brother Daniel, salamat sa medical mission na to. Marami kayo pong natulungan dito sa Barangay Sampaloc. Salamat po.
Maricris is among the more than 200 residents of the village of Sampaloc in Apalit, Pampanga, who benefited from the free medical, dental, optical, and legal services provided by UNTV, with the help of its partners in public service and led by the members Church of God International or MCGI.
Nagpapasalamat po kami kay Brother Early, kay Kuya Daniel. Marami po salamat sa kanila dahil po binigyan po kami ng gamot.
Ang buong Barangay Sampaloc po ay nagpapasalamat sa ginawang medical mission. Ito po ay malaking tulong sa mga kababaryo natin na mga may karamdaman. Magandang tulong po ito sa mga kababaryo natin.
This is the 5th medical and dental mission conducted by the group in the said village this year. The medical and dental mission was able to help a lot of children who received free medical checkup and medicines. Roby de Guzman, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Next on My News. The Defense Department says the war in Marawi City will soon end, while peace advocates are set to provide assistance to war-affected residents.
And President Rodrigo Duterte orders display of photographs of national heroes instead of government officials in all government establishments.
Y News will be right back. A group of advocates of the Coco Levy Fund expresses opposition to the passage of the Coco Levy Bill in the House of Representatives. Here's why from Ray Palayo.
The coconut industry reform or CORE movement fears that the Coco Levy Fund will be scammed if House Bill number 5745 will be passed into law. In September 25th, the bill that creates the Coconut Farmers and Industry Development Trust Fund has passed the lower house's third and final reading. The group said rich farmers would also benefit from the fund because a part of the bill that limits qualified beneficiaries has been removed. The original version of the bill states that only coconut farmers without land property or those who own land property not more than 5 hectares are qualified to benefits from the fund.
The House version that passed on third reading ay ibinubukas ulit ang oportunidad
na mapagsamantalahan itong kaperahan na ito.
Deputy Speaker Sharon Garin said the lower house decided to strike out the said part of the bill because even farmers with large land properties also contributed to the levy. She adds that the farmers are well represented in the soon-to-be-formed committee that will manage the fund. That's why the marginalized group will also be prioritized.
We give the farmers so much power over the levy, and I hope that I trust that since matagal na nilang pinaglaban to, they will do the right way of managing things.
The Coco Levy Fund was collected during the term of former President Ferdinand Marcos. Garin said the fund was now reached to more than 100 billion pesos. The bill allocates 20 billion pesos as Jumpstart Fund for the Farmers Program. 7.5 billion from the said amount will be given directly as benefits in form of insurances and scholarships for the farmers' children. The 80 billion pesos will serve as trust fund and only the interest per annum will be used for the programs. But Anapawis Representative Ariel Casilla wants most part of the fund be given directly to the farmers.
Parang buto yan na ibinitay mo na lang na nakikita ng mga aso na gutom at hindi niya makain-kain dahil nga hindi magalaw.
But Garin and the group core said farmers will benefit more if most part of the fund will be set as a trust fund. The Philippine Coconut Authority says it is a challenge now to farmer representatives to be united in pushing the programs if they want to serve the 2.2 million coconut farmers in the country.
Kahit naman majority sila sa loob ng committee na itatayo, hindi rin buo ang magiging posisyon ng mga farmers.
Ray Pilayo, UNTV, News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Senators express outrage over fake news on an unsigned resolution that calls the government to stop the killings of minors. Senate Majority Leader Tito Soto seeks a probe on the issue. Here's why from Nel Maribojo.
The 7 senators who have no signatures on the proposed resolution number 516 calling the government to undertake necessary steps to stop killing of minors have expressed outrage on the fake news. Senators Tito Soto, Richard Gordon, Cynthia Villar, Juan Miguel Subiri, Manny Pacquiao and Senate President Coco Pimentel refuted allegations that they do not support the resolution. The 7 senators have not inked their signatures on the resolution. They insist that they were not given the chance to sign or even read it. According to the blog, the 7 senators were tagged as Malacanang dogs, and Senator Tito Soto was called a rapist.
If there is any iota of rape that I am charged with in the whole world and not only in the Philippines, I will resign as Senator of the Republic, Mr. President. Sira ulo nito. I will be very kind. I will just file a cyber libel case against these people.
Yung nagsulat nito ay pipe, bingi at bulag na sa mga pangyayari dito sa Senado in the last few weeks.
Itong tao na ito, o kung sino man yung tao na yan, o kung matalino yan o educated yan, bubo yan, Mr. President. Pag nakita ko yan,
by these bashers, trolls, and fake news. I believe it's high time that we do something about it.
Meanwhile, Senator Villar reveals that someone talked to her about 2 senators who want to destroy the majority bloc, which she did not believe.
They told me really that Bam Aquino and Risa Hontiveros will try to destroy us. Oh, I did not believe it. And
Mr.
then
President.
now when I saw that blog, I said, maybe this is the beginning.
But Senators Risa Hontiveros and Bam Aquino deny the allegation.
I also categorically deny that. I was shocked just by the very question.
Senator Francis Pangilinan, who was the one who introduced the resolution, shares the same sentiment as his colleagues.
I just like that clarified, Mr. President. There was no intention to single out any senator.
Senator Soto urges a probe on the said fake news and what he calls as attacks of some media outlets. The Senate President supports the idea.
Let us get to the bottom of this, find out who is or are behind this website or web page.
Nel Maribojo, UNTV News and Rescue, Senate of the Philippines.
The Department of Energy urges ASEAN member states and other developed countries to invest in the power industry of the Philippines. Joanna tells us why.
In the ASEAN Business Forum today, the Department of Energy encourages ASEAN member states to further intensify the public-private partnership in the energy sector. Contained in the ASEAN Energy Cooperation Report 2017 released today are the plans and programs the ASEAN member states could enforce in improving their energy sectors. An exhibit was also opened today which featured new technologies used in sustainable energy and power supply. In his speech at the opening of the 35th ASEAN Ministers on Energy meeting today, Energy Secretary Alfonso Cusi emphasized the importance of cooperation among members of the ASEAN to attain a resilient and sustainable supply of electricity and petroleum products in the countries part of it. Cusi said such a meeting is a huge help for the Philippines in terms of encouraging more investments in the country's power sector. This is to sustain the huge need of the country in power supply, especially since it is set to begin its so-called build projects like the construction of a Mega Manila subway.
We're hosting this ASEAN forum today on energy, the importance of energy in our development, ang Philippines, especially the Philippines. We need this very badly. And I'm inviting investors from other countries, from bigger nations actually, to invest in power generations in the Philippines. Philippines as the place to invest, because we will have enough power and yung build natin, the infrastructure is a really big opportunity.
Aside from foreign investments, the delegates are also expected to discuss the creation of policies and strategies targeting to lower the prices of petroleum products and to ensure its sufficient power supply in countries in the ASEAN region. Joanna, UNTV News and Rescue, Pasay City.
Meanwhile, the 5 Vietnamese nationals caught illegally fishing in the Sea of Pangasinan last Saturday have requested for an interpreter and legal counsel from their home country. Abby Santa Ines tells us why.
The partial results of the investigation into the arrest of 5 Vietnamese nationals caught illegally fishing in the Sea of Bolinao, Pangasinan last Saturday have already been submitted to the Philippine Coast Guard. The relatives of the 5 Vietnamese nationals and their lawyers have arrived in the country today. Although the Philippines has provided legal counsel for the Vietnamese, they requested for lawyers and interpreters from their home country.
Actually, ma'am, sabi naman po sila sa amin, any time of the day. Yung mga relatives, if case po natin dumating po rito, yung task force po natin na naka-assign po dyan is bibigay po tayo ng liaison para i-assist yung mga kamag-anak po ng mga lalong-lalo na po yung mga namatayan pagdating po ng ganyan. And then we will be providing vehicles if in case kailangan nila or anything na kailangan po ng mga kasamahan po natin na nanggaling Vietnam. Kasama po ng kanilang consulate or yung interpreter nila at saka if ever kung meron na rin po yung abogado nila.
The Vietnamese fishermen remain under the custody of the Suwal Wharf and Causeway. Among the government agencies that submitted the reports are the Bureau of Fisheries and Aquatic Resources or BFAR and the Scene of the Crime Operatives or SOCO. According to the Police Chief Inspector Christopher Natnat, the Task Force Provincial Committee on Illegal Entrance Head, SOCO already submitted its autopsy and ballistic report on the deaths of the 2 Vietnamese fishermen.
Regarding po din doon sa may po natin, sa may SOCO report, yung mga autopsy nila, na i-submit na rin po nila yung sa may autopsy po. And then yung yung sa may baril po, yung 10 M16 po na i-turnover na rin po sa amin sa ng SOCO is that nakipakandak na po yung ballistic nila. Ang hindi lang po natatapos is yung dalang 50 caliber po na nila.
The bodies of the 2 fishermen who died in the encounter are still at a funeral home in the town of Bani. Abby Santa Ines, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
In other news, Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana believes the government troops can completely stop the hostilities in Marawi City in the next 3 days. Lorenzana said only about 100 terrorists are still being chased who are occupying around 10 hectares of properties in the city. Meanwhile, DND is still contemplating on whether to sustain the implementation of martial law in Marawi while rehabilitation efforts are already taking place. Still, DND plans to consult the residents on the said matter. Lorenzana adds that they are planning to submit their recommendation to President Rodrigo Duterte by October on whether or not to extend martial law in Mindanao. At present, the government troops are concentrating on pursuing the remaining members of the Maute group in the next 3 days.
So ang sabi naman ng ating mga commander sa ground is tapusin nila yan bago matapos ang buwan. So they have 3 days to do the job. So I am holding them responsible for fulfilling their promise. I'm very confident. I am very confident on the abilities of our soldiers to do their job.
And peace advocates from the Office of the Presidential Advisor on the Peace Process, or OPAP, will provide assistance to the war-affected residents of Marawi City. Leslie Longbowen tells us why.
The local government of Butuan City has given recognition to the peace advocates that represent the Office of the Presidential Advisor on the Peace Process, or OPAP, at the Gingona Park today. They are part of the so-called Peace Buzz, who makes rounds in the entire country to spread information about the efforts of the government in achieving long-lasting peace. From Butuan City, they will visit the cities of Davao and Iligan, and lastly, they will go to Marawi City. OPAP Undersecretary Jojo Andot says one of their primary goals is to help the internally displaced persons, or IDPs, who remain at temporary shelters in Iligan City and other parts of the country.
Kasama po natin ang mga internally displaced persons and families mula po Marawi at Lanao del Sur sa pagsa-celebrate pa rin ng ating pag-ibig para sa bayan sa pamamagitan po ng ating adhikain sa kapayapaan.
One of the benefits provided by the representatives of OPAP to the IDPs is the so-called social healing package, which includes offering them livelihood. OPAP also vows to help them prepare to return to Marawi the moment the turmoil in the war-torn city ends.
Not just on socio-economic aspect, livelihood, basic services, but also getting ready to become, to strengthen their institutions. Kasi yung learning natin is that hindi ganoon kalakas pa pala ang ating mga community, that they were not able to resist or even inform authorities na ito na yung threat pumapasok.
Leslie Longbowen, UNTV, News and Rescue, Philippines.
President Rodrigo Duterte formally orders displaying of photos of Philippine heroes instead of government officials in government offices through Memorandum Circular Number 25. Among those who are subjected to follow the order are government agencies, government-owned and controlled corporations, state universities and colleges, and public schools. This is part of promoting the national historical and cultural heritage of the country. The names of Philippine heroes whose photos can be displayed are Jose Rizal, Andres Bonifacio, Emilio Aguinaldo, Apolinario Mabini, Marcelo del Pilar, Juan Luna, Melchora Aquino, Gabriela Silang, Lapu-Lapu, and others. The eyewitness in the killing of former UP student Corl Angelo Arnaiz has applied for coverage under the Witness Protection Program. The witness, identified only as Joe Daniel, went to the DOJ after executing his sworn statement before NBI investigators. Public Attorney's Office Chief Attorney Persida Acosta says the testimony of this witness is material because he saw the actual killing of the teenager and the planting of evidence by policemen. The DOJ will start the preliminary investigation in the case on October 10.
So pati yung mga tama, yung limang tama ni Carl ay tumutugma sa kanyang narration of facts kung paano pinatay si Carl noong madaling araw ng August 18.
Transactions in the anti-graft court were temporarily halted as employees and magistrates rushed out of the Sandiganbayan building. Aiko Miguel tells us why.
At 2 in the afternoon today, the siren went off at the Sandiganbayan that signaled the start of the earthquake drill. The employees and magistrates went out of the anti-graft court in an organized way. However, based on the assessment by the Office of the Civil Defense or OCD, they should move faster when the so-called big one strikes.
If I will rate yung kanilang movement, I'll rate them around 7 to 8. This is an honest opinion. Except, of course, may mga flaw pa rin. They need to move faster pa. Kasi it took them, I think, 6 or 8 minutes from the 6th floor going down, including the basement.
Although it's not part of the scenario in the earthquake drill, an employee was not able to go out of the room at the 6th floor due to dizziness and vertigo. A child sleeping on the 3rd floor was also not able to go out of the building, prompting the Quezon City Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Office rescuers to go to where they were. According to the father of the child, he left his daughter sleeping as she was too tired from school.
Oo, kaya sabi ko baka makaistorbo, kaya iniwanan ko muna siya doon. Akala ko naman saglit lang yung drill. Siyempre pag totoo, hindi ko naman iingat.
Sandiganbayan 3rd Division Clerk of Court Attorney Dennis Pulma says the anti-graft court employees were advised early about the earthquake drill, aside from a magistrate who learned of the drill at last minute.
You will notice mga justices namin naka-robe because for this purpose, for this exercise, gusto namin mas maging real as possible. We were business as usual today. Kita nyo, may nag-hearing yung 3rd Division. Some of the justices were inside their chambers.
The drill lasted for 30 minutes, and when the assessment ended, the participants were told to return to their respective office. The OCD and incident commanders were glad of the preparations made by the employees in the event of a strong earthquake. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Meanwhile, the Bulacan Philippine National Police distribute pictures of the suspect in the killing of a pharmacist in San Jose Del Monte, Bulacan. Mon Hokson tells us why.
Authorities continue its manhunt operations on the suspect in the killing of pharmacist in San Jose Del Monte, Bulacan last night. The police distribute the pictures of the suspect in Bulacan and several parts of Caloocan City to gather more information on his whereabouts. At 6:50 in the evening, 40-year-old Lloyd Jean Geronimo was shot dead with an improvised handgun inside her pharmacy. The crime was caught on CCTV. It shows the suspect wearing a cap when it approached the pharmacy and was talking to the victim. After several minutes, the suspect shot Geronimo. San Jose Del Monte Chief of Police, Police Superintendent Fitz Macariola says their investigation on the crime is still ongoing.
We are still gathering information from sa lahat ng sources natin dito, coming from the population, media, sa lahat barangay officials, sa lahat ng pwede sa ating makatulong ay ginagawa natin ng paraan.
The remains of Lloyd Jean is lying in state in the village of San Nicolas, Bulacan. The husband and children of Lloyd Jean were extremely grieving due to the death of their loved one. The family is calling for justice for the death of the victim.
Ay nananawagan sa kinaukulan na sana ay maaksyonan at magkaroon ng hustisya ang pagkamatay ng aking asawa. Nakita naman natin ang nangyari na wala silang kaabog-abog na gumawa sila ng kasamaan sa aking asawa. Sana po ay magkaroon ng hustisya ang pagkamatay ng aking asawa.
Mon Hokson, UNTV, News and Rescue, Philippines.
2 persons died while 4 others were injured in an accident in Manila this afternoon. Rosalie Cos tells us why.
A 20-footer trailer truck fell off, hitting 2 shanties under the flyover of Zamora Interlink at 3 this afternoon. A grandfather and his grandson died while 4 others were injured, including the truck driver and porter because of the incident. Truck driver Rinaldo Acosta says he lost control of the truck because its brakes malfunctioned.
Pasensya na po, hindi ko naman po kasalanan yung nangyari. Aksidente po. Nalalakbo ako, ma'am. Bigla akong mag-apply ako ng preno. Wala, hindi na po kumagat, ma'am. 2 beses nga po ako nag-apply, ma'am.
Try niya na i-anus dun sa barrier para huminto. Kaya lang, sumampa yung truck niya hanggang bumagsak doon. Merong 2 kabahayan dyan
The truck hit two shanties where the husband and grandchildren of Mrs. Juanita were resting.
Lumindol, parang ako lumindol ah. Yan, pagdating ko nga dito, takbo ko. Ayun, nakita ko nandun. Ay, nandun gago yung asawa ko. Yung ano, mga anak ko, apo ko, ganun.
The Manila Police District Station 10 said the truck driver definitely has criminal liabilities. The Police Traffic Bureau is still investigating to verify if the brakes indeed malfunctioned. The relative of the victims is pleading for justice over the death of their family members.
Sa akin, babigyan na ng mustika yung aking maglolo. Wala na rin itong magagawa. Dahil aksidente yun eh.
Rosa Licoz, UNTV News and Rescue, Pandacan, Manila.
Some areas in Mindanao will experience rains tomorrow. Tell us why, Leslie.
Yes, Darlene, rains are expected over the south tomorrow. This is intertropical convergence zone affects southern Mindanao. So expect cloudy skies with scattered rain showers and thunderstorms in Davao region and Soxargen. Also, cloudy skies with light to moderate rains and thunderstorms will prevail over Ilocos region due to trough of low pressure area. While Metro Manila and the rest of the country will experience partly cloudy to cloudy skies with isolated rain showers or thunderstorms, mostly in the afternoon or evening. Temperature forecast shows Metro Manila will have a temperature of 25 to 33 degrees Celsius. Baguio City's temperature will range from 17 to 24 degrees Celsius. In Metro Cebu, temperature will vary from 25 to 32 degrees Celsius, while Metro Davao will experience a temperature of 24 to 32 degrees Celsius. Tomorrow, the sun will rise at 5:45 in the morning. That's a weather forecast. Back to you, Dirty.
Thank you, Leslie Longbowen, reporting from the UNTV Weather Center. The DOJ Justice Boosters is undaunted and ready to go neck on neck with opponents in the League of Public Servants. Bernard Dadis will tell us why.
Now welcoming your DOJ Justice Boosters.
The DOJ Justice Boosters now has in its roster former professional hoopster Philip Butel, who can play both as a center and a power forward. Another reinforcement player is big man Gilbert Cole. Meanwhile, this season is a big comeback for NBI 8 Paul Gerald Reguera, who was not able to play in Season 5. According to Justice Boosters head coach John Agbayani Jr., his side has prepared to fight the hardcore battles ahead.
Sabi namin sa isa't isa to go together with the management and the team. So, manalo talaga. Gusto talaga namin manalo. Ang DOJ family gustong manalo ngayon at mapakita sa the UNTV Season 6, no? Na ang DOJ lalaban talaga this season.
Several executives from the Department of Justice who played in the off-season games Executive Face-Off are also included in the lineup in support of Kuya Daniel Razon's advocacy of helping those in need through UNTV Cup.
Ang ipapangako lang namin mas magandang effort yung pakapakita namin this year and hopefully mas magandang record. Ang gusto lang ho ipakita ng Team DOJ solid ho ang DOJ at kami ho'y mag-aalay ng aming pawis at pagod para sa aming mga chosen beneficiaries.
Today's game between the DOJ Justice Boosters and the Department of Agriculture Food Masters will be aired on UNTV on Sunday, 2 p.m. Bernard Dadis, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Coming up on Y News. Saudi King Salman announces historic decision finally allowing women in the kingdom to drive.
And check out South Korea's war bag survival kit videos as they go viral on YouTube.
More from Y News after this break. Those are the reasons behind the news September 27, 2017. I'm William Theo.
Reasons we delivered to you as they unfold. I'm Darlene Basingan.
Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Thank you for watching
Y News.